And welcome to the show.
Here it goes.
17 Waverly Podcast.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the 17 Waverly Podcast. Ram, Gavin, Angelo, so hello, boys.
Happy Wednesday.
Happy wed. Happy wed.
Guys, this is our 70th episode.
70th episode.
70th episode. Wow.
Episode 1 of season 8 of the pod.
Wow.
I don't understand the logistics of the
Season
seasons,
8.
But sure.
The logistics. What do you mean the logistics, Gab? 0 through 10 is season 1. And then
Right.
and then 10 through 20 is season 2.
I mean 11 through 20.
Or 11 through 10.
11
20.
through 19. Okay, sure. Okay.
Yeah. So we're on technically now, season 8. Our 8th go around, our 8th run.
Twirl. I love it.
Let's launch another season. Can we keep it consistent? Can we get to season 9 without any interruptions?
Correct.
Can we...
I actually should go back and look and see if we've gone a full season without interruptions.
I don't believe that. I think
We've been doing pretty well as of late.
We have.
because of a
Now I'm
disease
down.
sweeping the nation.
We have.
Yeah.
But even then, I think during the pandemic too, like when it was deep quarantine, I think that we missed like a week or two in there somewhere.
There was a few.
We were distracted.
because I
yes.
think by now we should have been on episode like 90
Right.
Yeah.
at this point in the year. No, like 85 maybe. No, not 85, like 75, almost 80.
Something like that. Yeah, we're supposed to. We're actually, because if we remain consistent, this October would be like closing on our 100th.
Right.
Wow.
We are
I can't
watching
wait
The
for the
Lion
October
King.
episodes.
Not for any purpose other than the fact that this episode is dads.
I don't know what
Dad.
inspired this, because we swayed away from what we were originally going to talk
Yeah,
about.
and I hope that we didn't in the last pod talk about what we were
We
going to talk
did.
about. This.
We did.
I think we might have.
You absolutely did. You absolutely mentioned what.
the last like 10 minutes of the last podcast was going like 5 weeks ahead.
Yeah.
It wasn't
we were
good.
overcommitting to a
This
schedule.
would not be the 17 Waverly Podcast without a few curveballs, wild cards.
So today we're
Absolutely.
talking daddy
So
issues.
today we're talking dads. I don't know necessarily that it would be daddy issues, but dads.
Actually, no, it's not daddy issues, because it's more about like appreciation of father figures in
and
film.
to be honest, this episode is the episode we should have done for Father's Day.
But that would be organized and
But
logical.
that
I literally checked my schedule, being like, "Is Father's Day this weekend or something?" Like, what's the
Well, and no,
either way? I'm happy to do.
And
this.
the best part is that we came up with this theme because I had just randomly put a movie on, or Stacy had randomly put on Mrs. Doubtfire, and then we were like, you know what? Let's do an episode about dads. And that's how it came about.
And here we are. All right.
So, dads.
Thanks.
Who
all-
wants to present their movie
We
first?
all picked a movie. I guess we'll start with Mrs. Doubtfire because that was the first one that we saw.
Okay.
All right.
That was, I guess we'll go with it because that was my choice, even though we was just watching it. But okay, Mrs. Doubtfire, Robin Williams, little girl from Matilda, whole bunch of good actors. I did not write down the information of the people, and I should have.
Our dude with the raspy ass voice is in this one.
From Independence Day, our favorite.
Yes.
The what the hell is it? He's like Uncle Frank or something like that. What the hell is his name?
Christopher Columbus directed it. My bad.
Harry Potter director.
Harry Potter
Yep.
director, Home Alone director. Very, very famous with his children's type flicks.
Yes.
What was I going to say?
This is an awesome
screenplay by Randy Myern, Singer, and Leslie Dixon. Okay, so if you have not seen Mrs. Doubtfire, everyone here has to have seen it. It's from 1993. Robin Williams.
Yes.
Go
One
ahead.
of his most iconic roles.
Yes, this is probably, to me, this is one of his most iconic roles, if not top. This has got to be like top 2.
This is definitely like his Mount Rushmore. This is definitely one of the top heads.
Yes, correct.
For sure.
So, Mrs. Doubtfire, in a nutshell, we've got a guy and a woman married. Not very good marriage. Rocky. The movie starts. He is throwing a party for his child. She comes home.
It's a straight banger.
It's a banger. We're talking like
The kids are having a blast.
the kids are having a blast. There's like 40 kids in the house.
They're
Rocking.
chilling. There's a goat eating
Music
cake in the
blasting.
kitchen.
Yeah, there's a fucking goat in the kitchen. All kinds of crazy shit. A little unnecessary for a child.
Yeah, yeah. The kid was like, what, like 11, 12?
But that's Robin Williams. He's larger than life.
Exactly.
Sure. So he, of course, is loving the party. The wife comes home. She's a stickler. Gets angry. This shouldn't be happening. You shouldn't be having this kind of crazy shit going on with these kids. What the hell? I'm done with you. So at that point, you're
Communication,
realizing,
all
holy
that.
shit, this is like a last straw. And we don't really know what led up to it because we're starting off the movie with this last straw.
Yeah, you're starting off showing me this is probably the greatest dad ever, and then
Correct.
apparently his wife, bitch, thinks that
Correct.
this is a bit excessive.
Exactly. So you're immediately, as a viewer, you're angry because you're thinking, why are you going to divorce this guy just because he had a fun party for his kid?
You got 3 kids.
Granted, it's a
good
little
here.
messy. I get it. But there's no reason why you should be so angry and divorcing the guy because he just giving his kids happiness. You know what I mean?
Well, but that's also just it's piggybacking off of our breakup episode. Is that the fight? Like it's obviously not the big reason, as opposed to it's just
Right.
the final straw in a
Yes.
big list of
Right.
many
Yes,
reasons
correct.
of why it
Of
doesn't
course.
work anymore.
But as you're watching it, you're like, okay, what the hell?
Oh, the movie definitely paints her to be like a
she's
stick in the mud,
awful.
like a real like she's the problem.
Oh, absolutely.
She needs to lighten the fuck up.
Yeah.
And let's be honest, it almost kind of plays into her maybe wanting to dip out of the whole marriage pond, if you will.
I enjoy the little teacup.
Yeah,
of
I was
whatever
actually
the hell that
about to
is.
say, people can't see it, but as
Need my
Vico's
espresso.
speaking, he's so politely holding a teacup.
It couldn't be bigger than like the size of I couldn't even.
The microphone is smaller than the foam.
It's very wee. It's
Yeah.
very wee.
Yeah. Okay, so back to the movie. They get divorced. Fine.
Right.
Get out of my life, whatever. Turns out she thinks he's an unfit father because he doesn't have his shit together. He has not the greatest job. I think he's like pushing. What is he doing? What is his original job?
Did he? He was doing something with like that like little kid show, wasn't he? Or was that before?
No,
Or was
no,
that
no.
after?
He was like
Was he
he
unemployed?
basically just didn't have stable work. He was
Yes,
on and
yeah.
off going
He-
multiple
he
jobs.
was-
on off of work
He was I think he was a voice actor for something, and then
That's
he got
what it was.
fired.
because
and
he was
then-
doing the cigarette thing with the yeah.
Yes, and then he got fired. So then he took on some like little crappy backroom job at the studio.
Yeah, that's what it was. He was like shipping out film.
Right.
But you're right.
But-
he was doing voiceover work for cartoons.
He didn't have his life together, not entirely. He so eventually, I guess they split up, and then some time goes by to where the divorce gets so messy that she takes him to court. The fucking judge tells him, "Hey, if you don't get a job, get a good job, fix your apartment or a stable place to live, give these kids like good quality of life while they're with you, then we're gonna take away your custody and we're giving it to just her."
That's right.
And then meanwhile, you're thinking like, why the fuck are you doing this to this guy? This guy just wants to literally be with his kids.
Yeah, exactly. Just because you don't love them doesn't mean you have to make your kids like have a terrible relationship with their father.
And not the guy isn't perfect, obviously.
Oh yeah, obviously not.
But you can't be mad at the person for not being exactly the way that you are.
Right.
Right? So she is this like very neurotic, clean, fucking,
Very very proper.
proper, she does all this bullshit. She makes good money. So she's got her career, she's all into work, she's all this shit. And he's obviously like just like this fun dad. I get it, there's problems there. And you can't necessarily I can't necessarily entirely disagree with her, but I think there's definitely way too harsh of a
Yeah.
like I just she's I think she's going about it the wrong way.
I agree
think
with
she's just going. The thing is, and as you progress through the film, because at the beginning you obviously have a quick judgment of her, especially when she comes to pick up the kids, and there's that very unfair dialogue of how she was an hour late, or she was an hour late to drop him off, an hour early to him him up, and that stuff. What I like about that in particular is that I think when you get into everyone here knows for the most part, let's say no marriage, no kids. You're just trying to break up with someone because you fucking had it with them. Like
Sure.
it's just
Right.
become a very toxic thing.
Right.
But in this specific case, there's children involved, there's lives involved, there's stuff involved. While you're trying to sort through the ugliness of your own detachment of emotions to this person, you're probably going to, at least before you become conscious of it, blur the lines of what's appropriate. She was definitely doing that. She was projecting her beef with him
Correct.
in front of her kids and putting it on her
Right.
kids. And even
100%.
that one of those early scenes where he meets the kids as Mrs. Doubtfire, she starts talking shit about him.
Yeah.
And she, as Mrs. Doubtfire, tries to stand up for him. Like, you're really going to talk like poorly about their father in front of the
Right.
children.
Yeah, exactly. Like I prefer not to bash the father.
Correct.
In front of the
Yeah.
because it's their dad. It's still at the end of the day their father, and they're not the
Exactly.
ones responsible for your choosing him years ago.
Right.
100%.
So as we just mentioned, what ultimately ends up happening is our boy Robin Williams' character decides, I'm going to take it into my own hands to see my kids, because he gets his custody taken away, I think, doesn't he? It's only like he only gets like just Saturdays.
Yeah,
for
he gets like
a certain
one
number
day
of
a
hours.
week, maybe, or like
Yeah,
one day
yeah.
every other week, and
It's-
it also has to be like chaperoned. Like,
Yes, it has to be chaperoned. Correct.
A court liaison had to be there, and like,
Yes.
he even makes the comment like I give my kids a hug, and this person is judging me, asking why am I doing
Right.
that? Like I'm some
Ooh.
type of like
Yeah.
I'm
deviant
gonna have
or
to play
something.
devil's
It's like,
advocate.
So
it was bad.
I'm gonna have to play devil's advocate.
So he gets that little bit of custody, I guess. And he goes, I got to take it into my own hands. I got to see my kids. She says at some point that she needs a nanny because she works a lot and barely even has time for the goddamn kids.
Right.
So she hires a fucking nanny that's basically lives there, cooks them meals, teaches them shit, does all the
Picks
work
them- yeah.
that he could be doing because she has no
Exactly.
time to do it.
The nanny's there for them to when they're out of school until she comes home, whatever
Right.
time that might be. But there's
Right.
yeah, a bunch
Which
of shit
I
involved.
think is not right either.
Correct.
Wait, what do you think is not right either?
The fact that she's so into the career and the job that she has to hire a nanny. So she divorces the guy and is okay with him getting almost zero custody because he doesn't have his life together like she does. But when it comes to taking care of the actual kids, who she's defending so proudly, she doesn't even have time for. She has to hire someone to come home, pick them up, do all the work, put them to bed, and cook dinner.
Honestly, yeah, she's
while
hiring
she's
someone to
doing
be
while she's
being a
out
mother.
working, and then like even going on her little dates with fucking
with boy Pierce Brosnan.
Pierce Brosnan. So it's not like necessarily like she's this great mom. She's not there all the time doing putting in the work.
Yeah, but now you're treading into no, that doesn't work because it's not. Yeah, I'll play devil's advocate. Why not? I'll go up to bat. The problem.
Well, I mean, I'm not going to argue with you.
I just think it's like you can't. She's clearly been the main breadwinner of the family for a very long time, because of his instability with work. So the thing of her being absent from the house as much as not being able to be completely devoted as a mother, it's like, well, it had to be one or the other, right? The man isn't making money, so I have to go out and resolve the situation because he is not. So that already probably created a resentment within the partnership. Two, and this is just going back to what I was thinking originally. Yes, it was a cute thing. It's all adorable, and like you see his devotion to wanting to be with his kids. But at the same time, the entire Miss Doubtfire gimmick just kind of promotes what her point was at the beginning. He doesn't respect boundaries or rules and just does exactly what he wants to do. If you can argue that if he had just dedicated that time during the divorce to stabilizing his life, to getting like the job, and then bringing that over and being like, look, I'm working, I have a stable income now.
Right.
This is my living situation. Can we please recheck this situation about the custody?
Right.
Okay. It also does highlight the bias of the legal system, and that it always goes in favor of the mother figure instead, and doesn't really consider fathers. That's also very true.
Sure, that's a good point.
We have that issue as well. It doesn't really. It's just kind of like always assumed to the mother, but that might not always be the case. The gimmick of doing so, like, that really was kind of proving her point in a lot of ways. It was like, he doesn't respect what she says or what her wishes are. He just does what he wants to do. By creating that whole ploy of sneaking into the house. I think. But he figured. But
it's also a comedy.
It's a comedy.
So
right, this
scenario doesn't have to go that deep.
It's a heartfelt comedy, it's making a point. It's a movie that's speaking to something that's a very real issue when we talk about those custody things and relationships children have with fathers, and even more so when mothers hold their fucking children hostage. As to use them in their own personal vendettas against their partner. Right. Because if he was a shitty partner, that's your beef. You have to judge him on how he is as a father.
Right.
And how because do you think your children are in danger when they're with their father? Is the answer no?
Exactly. And but they try, and that's I guess in what you're saying, you're right. And they do definitely try and forcefully try to make her and paint her out to be the villain in the movie.
Right.
But I understand. The thing is, like, I understand her need to do this. I understand the desire to even have to like the necessary steps that she takes to even take him to court to do this. Mm-hmm. It's just like you as the viewer are immediately just like, you fall in love with him as a father.
Well, it's Robin Williams. You're gonna fall in love with him. Period. So
it's they do a really good job of making you feel that for him, and completely kind of just like pushing her reasoning aside.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just like you were kind of alluding to before. It's like she's divorcing the guy, and then she's not going to be in the kids' lives anymore. It's like there really could have been just a really nice compromise there. That all right, you know what, you could help me with the kids, obviously.
Right.
But she wasn't hearing it. I think that's the biggest problem that I had with her the whole time. It's like you said, like, grade him on being a father, not as a partner.
Right.
Like, obviously he gets along with the kids love him. You don't have to be putting ads in the paper trying to get a nanny. Like, have your boy take the kids. Come on.
Yeah, I mean,
but then again, we won't have a movie if that happens. So
true.
Let's get into him dressing up like an old woman.
Yeah. But it's still a good. I mean, yeah, right. We wouldn't have a movie, but still does play a good point and speaking to that. And also, sorry. Oh my god, I blanked because of the burp.
Jesus Christ,
son of a gun!
I completely blanked because of that burp. Damn gas. The gas just ruined my point.
Son of a bitch.
This is what we do here at the 17 Waverly podcast.
We belch and then we forget what we're going to say.
I'm sure it was going to be a great point.
Yeah, I mean, look, he takes matters into his own hands. He dresses up like a woman to try to be the nanny.
Oh, I remember.
He succeeds because his brother, who was the guy from Independence Day, the very funny guy that we were laughing at the other.
Yeah.
Yes.
He is a makeup artist.
He's a makeup artist. He helps him create this great get up, this great outfit, makeup, mask, everything that makes him look like a woman. Although
that's one of the best parts of the movie too, when they're going through like the different personas that he could have had. Oh my god! That's his brilliance.
When I was telling Gab this when we were watching it, if my father dressed up as a woman,
I'd still recognize him.
I'd still recognize at least because
the eye. I feel like mask, if I looked him in the eyes,
the mask covers like 95% of his face. So I get that, but it's still kind of form fitting.
Yeah, there's still going to be similarities,
And the eyes are exactly the same.
doesn't Miranda say something about his eyes? Like
Yes.
haven't I met you before? Something like that. You have such
She's
lovely
like,
eyes.
yeah, she's like, I feel like I've known you for a long time or something like that.
Yeah. Because you get the vibe of the person. Like, even though
Right.
they're kid, that's what I'm saying.
Exactly.
Like, even if someone was dressed like Batman, got it.
Nice, well played.
Like, and I could see your mouth and your eyes, I'd be like, Fico, you're Batman?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I would see, even if you try to do like the deep, I think.
I mean, granted, Batman is it's like even more of an absurd, like, why the fuck can't you tell that it's him?
Yeah, right.
It's
Right.
like Clark Kent with fucking putting on glasses.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, it could be
so
someone else.
stupid. But what I was going to say is the concept of like, yes, judge them based on on being how they are as a parent, not how they were as a partner. But ultimately, when you have kids, like, you're still partners for life because you still share
still have these
the
kids.
kid. And I think one of the best things I ever heard was, even if you like don't like each other, and she says it herself, like, we didn't bring out the best in each other. I didn't like who I was when I was with him. She said that.
Right.
I'm like, that's huge. Because if you recognize you don't like the person you are, or the person that they make you, because you're saying yourself, he's like this happy-go-lucky, easygoing guy, and she's uptight. Sometimes being with someone that happy-go-lucky and free-spirited makes you feel more uptight. Because
Right,
everything that
detriment.
you do is looked at like, God, you're so intense. And it's like, that just makes you more intense.
Yeah.
Because like, I'm not like, you're not always down to be that
Correct.
like that. So it probably brings out a very, there's no empathy or like understanding. It probably brings out a more strict or stern version of yourself.
Yeah,
Right.
But
I can
absolutely.
see that.
But she said, but the thing is too, I think how important it is for kids to, even knowing like, oh, my parents don't really like each other, like they're not that great, but they still come together on your behalf to make decisions. I
Right.
think whether consciously or subconsciously can be a really positive influence on children, because that's ultimately you're choosing love over your own beef.
Right.
You're choosing
Yeah.
the love of the child to put aside your struggles with your former partner to make choices and decisions on behalf of the kid.
Right.
That's a powerful thing. You're putting
That's-
your ego aside and putting the child first. So it doesn't mean you have to be boning or sharing a room,
True.
but you
True.
still have to learn to be co-parents and show up for the kid when the kid needs you to show up for him.
Correct.
And that was, I think, what was her biggest error in the movie, is that she was doing the hold my kids hostage. But he also was beefing it, like shitting the bed, and like he wasn't getting his life together and
Right.
doing whatever he wanted.
They were both being petty at
petty.
one point.
They
too.
were being
Very
selfish.
Like
petty.
him doing this nanny thing is a petty move.
It is a petty move.
Like, you don't have to do that, dude. Like, just
Get the job
You were
figured out.
right. Yeah, what you did,
Exactly.
what you said
Just
before
like, get a
was
good
right.
place to live, get a good job, and let's go.
Do what the fucking judge said. And like, granted,
Maybe.
it's not like we're not saying that him doing this trying to do this just to see his kids is entirely bad, but you could have done it the better way, which was just put the work in.
Right. That's the lesson of the movie.
Yeah.
But thank you for making it and making the wrong choice so we could enjoy this film.
Oh, absolutely. We'll end.
Now,
Well, go ahead.
real quick.
Yeah.
Real quick. Do you think the son walking in on him using the restroom had potential
Scarring.
earth-shattering, scarring ramifications in his adulthood? Because I always thought about that might have ruined a lot of things for this young man.
I don't think so. Only because right away
There's clarification.
there's clarification.
Okay.
He does,
But he's still a little shocked because he doesn't even want to hug him after.
Right.
But no, I think I'm thinking maybe if he saw it and then saw it multiple occasions and didn't get clarified, maybe there'd be like, what the hell's going on? But like, the kid looks old enough to not be fucked up about
That's fair.
something like that. You know what I mean?
That's fair. I also want to give a shout out to Pierce Brosnan's character Stu.
Why?
Without any problems, having no problem taking on 3 kids that weren't his and wanting to raise them as his own.
Oh,
That is a mark. That is a mark of a fantastic man.
That was a good
That is a
stepfather step up.
He did call their actual father a loser, but not to their face.
Correct.
So
correct.
that's-
correct.
He-
correct.
you know what? He's almost trying to get painted as a villain because he's the new guy around.
Yeah,
but you
yeah.
got to give it up to him. He got his priorities in his head in the right
Oh
spot.
yeah, because you think in that scene before when they're at the pool and he's talking about the little girl, and how he wants to I guess didn't have a kid of his own, so he's like taking her in, I guess.
Yeah, he's like, oh, that little Natalie, I'm crazy about her.
Yeah,
like,
yeah. It's great. It's a great. He's a stepfather that stepped up.
Exactly.
Even though he's not really their stepfather yet, if they even become that, because I don't know at that point.
Do you think he ended up leaving her after that? My girlfriend's ex-husband almost killed me in a restaurant.
If at all, there had to have been a lengthy conversation at the very least.
Absolutely,
but
he's
I don't
not
think,
coming around Christmas.
I don't think that she would have ended up with that guy.
I hope not.
I think she would have. I think the mom at that point by the end probably changed a little bit in terms of like she became more lax. This is what I like to hope.
Right.
She became more lax. She corrected her errors, which was working too much, devoting too much time to work and not enough to the kids. I think that by the end, I would have hoped that they would have kind of came together and
had some type of
right. Robin Williams, incredible job. I mean, this is peak Robin Williams.
Absolutely.
That scene,
you could tell
the scene where he's talking to the fucking person to find work, and he's rattling off like 17 different voices. You're like, Jesus, this guy is about as talented as it gets.
Don't forget his impression of a hot dog.
That's the brilliance of him.
Including the impression of a hot dog.
Like, what the fuck was that? And why was it so damn funny?
Oh, no, but it was great.
All right, so I want us to all give it a score because I want to, from now on, everything that we watch, we're going to give it a score.
We're back to potatoes?
We're back to potatoes.
1 out of 5.
Back to the pots.
We're changing the 1 out of 5.
What are we changing it to?
Oh.
I'm changing it from a 1 out of 5 to 1 out of 10 because it's going to help this. It's going to help me with the statistics for the website later.
All right.
Now,
because sometimes we do
can give out
1.5
fractional
and like 2.5, and I don't want to do that.
All right.
So just no fractions, just
no
1 through
fraction.
10.
Gotcha. I can
number.
give you my answer right now.
And then later on, at the end of the year, once I tally all the movies that we've watched throughout the whole year, we'll update our fans with our top 5 movies, of all time or like stuff like that.
Oh boy! All right, that sounds good.
Okay, so I'm gonna give it a 8.5 out of 10.
I thought you said we weren't doing fractions.
I just said we weren't doing decimals. I'm
literally
8 out of 10. An 8 out of 10. I did not say 8.5.
All right.
Jesus Christ. We're off to a great start with this rule. Figo, do you want to take it away?
I'm gonna give it a 7. 7 out of 10.
Okay, 7 out of 10. 8 out of 10. Gab?
All right, give it a 6.
A 6 out of 10. Okay,
I was,
all right.
to be honest, I'm not that impressed with the movie. It's not one I would ever click to see.
Okay,
if it's
all right.
on, sure, I get the gist.
Okay, all right. Okay, so a 6, an 8, and a 7. All right. Good job, boys.
Log that in.
We're going to log that in. All right, so who's next? Who wants to go next?
Who is next?
Don't just jump up at once. Okay.
Right.
So
That just felt like a school presentation. You have to give up and give a speech, and no one wants to raise their hand to do it. So the teacher has to start calling people.
I promise you, anybody who's listening to this, that hopefully by like episode 100, we're going to be way more organized.
No, we're good.
There you go.
So we'll stick with the theme of fathers doing extraordinary things for the children they love.
Absolutely.
I chose the film John Q, starring our boy Denzel.
Hell yeah.
This movie was, amazing. If you've never seen it, a quick synopsis of it is, John Q, his wife, and his young son are, they're living just at their means, if you will. He works at a plant. He's doing a lot of metal work, and he just had his hours cut. In the first couple minutes of the movie, he's running downstairs because his wife's car is getting repossessed. So they're behind on some bills. He was even telling her, listen, it was either keep the car or pay the mortgage. I had to pay the mortgage. So
severe, not severe, but like it's poverty.
it's poverty, exactly. I think there's a part in the movie where it's like they talk about white collar, blue collar, and then I can't afford a collar. Like that's where they're at.
Yeah.
All right. So his son's this bright young man. He's obsessed with bodybuilding. He's a real cute kid. So you flash forward a little bit. They're at a baseball game. They're at their son's little league game, and the son's like running the bases, and then all of a sudden something kind of clicks, and he grabs his chest, collapses, starts seizuring. Yeah. Very scary. So he gets rushed to the hospital, and that's where they find out that their son has an enlarged heart, and that his body is now starting to fail because of it, and they only have so much time to either get him a replacement heart or have the parents make the decision to just medicate him, have him feel comfortable, and let him pass. Which is that scene where the doctors are basically going over the two options.
So fucking scary.
So scary. Because like you're basically telling me my kid's going to die, and if I don't come up with $275,000, I have to bury my kid. Terrible.
A big important thing to add there. The insurance situation.
Okay, so I was gonna get into it right afterwards, but yes,
right.
John Q thinks he has insurance, adequate insurance, but then finds out that his job changed plans, and then
fucked up.
Also because his job reduced his hours, he did not qualify for Tier 1 coverage under the new plan. So it was basically
it's a whole lot of bullshit.
Yeah, it's a bunch of bullshit. After I saw this movie, I went home and asked my parents for a couple days straight, what insurance do we have? Do we have an HMO or people like, I need to know this because if my heart stops, I'm basically dead.
Right. And this movie came out in 2002, so.
Yeah. So obviously, John Q's trying to do everything impossible to raise this money.
Right.
He's selling off furniture. He's selling his truck. He's selling anything he can sell to make money. And then he gets a call from his wife, and it's like, hey, they're gonna release our son. He's gonna die. And John Q goes to the hospital. He takes matters into his own hands. What does he do? He takes everyone hostage. The whole ER. He's got He's got the cardiac surgeon in there. He's got a security guard in there. 2 nurses.
Oh yeah.
And a couple just a couple regular old people that are suffering from illnesses or ailments.
Eddie Griffin.
I forgot that he was in this movie, but he is such a vital role in this movie. I love him.
So important to the cast.
Oh man, but yeah. So like obviously, while they're in the ER under this hostage situation, the cops come. You got the hostage negotiator out there.
Yep.
I forgot that our boy, what the heck's his name? Italian guy. Help me out here. Ray Liotta. Ray Liotta is like the typical jag-ass cop, just an asshole.
He always just plays a jackass.
He's always just plays the jackass.
I think he's only played a good guy in like one movie, and that was Blow.
Yeah.
I'm honest, it's too much.
Yep.
Yeah. So what goes on? Like he's in this ER. He's got it locked down. You got people there like crying babies. People are pregnant. We got some asshole that wants to beat his wife there, and it all they basically all just take his side. Like once he explains what the situation is, and then that one nurse, the guy from Entourage, Kevin Conley.
Yes.
Who I love in this movie, basically exposes the whole.
The nurse. He's the nurse.
Yeah, he basically exposes the whole thing. And then
because you can tell that he's had it with like the system.
Yeah. And then James Woods. James Woods is great in this movie too, as the cardiac surgeon.
James Woods is the scumbag doctor, right?
Yeah, who ends up like he saves the one guy from a bullet wound. Like, this movie was just awesome. Like I remember Denzel won the Academy Award, right, for Best Actor because of this film.
I don't think so, but I think he was at the very least nominated.
Let's see. I wish I could pull up the.
He won the NAACP Image Award for Outstanding Actor, but I don't know that he won the Academy Award.
I thought he won something for it, but either way, I mean,
great. It's a fucking awesome movie.
Yeah, and this is like we're saying, like we're talking about this guy went the whole way for his son. He even like if you remember at the end of the movie, he was going to kill himself so that they could use his heart to save his son. Right. And like that's a tear-jerking part of the movie.
Oh, it's
when he's having he's having that heart to heart conversation with the kid.
with the
Oh my
with
god,
his son,
man.
yeah, when he's basically saying goodbye to him because he knows, like, all right, I'm gonna have to kill myself to give the kid my heart,
unreal.
because by that point, they have no idea that there's another heart available, and they have no idea really that his name is actually at the top of the list for the donors, because at that point he just assumes, all right, my kid's gonna die. There's no hearts. We're not on the list. I got to do something. So I'd rather my son live than me.
And like I was trying to figure out that whole thing. Like throughout the movie, they have that BMW like getting into that car crash.
In the first scene,
Yeah.
the first scene of the movie.
And you're trying to figure out where the parallel is until they like zoom in on the woman's arm, and it's like an organ donor bracelet.
Right.
Right. Brilliant, absolutely brilliant.
I don't know if people get the bracelets for it. I've always thought it was just like if it's on your
license.
like it's on my driver's license.
Yeah.
You could put they just put like the little red heart, and that means like organ donor.
Mine's the same.
Um,
I mean, look, if I get into a car accident and my body and I'm dead, I'd rather my body at least help save someone else's life if I'm already dead.
That's the way I like to think. And then someone put it in my head that don't do that, because if you get into an accident, they're not going to save you.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's like, oh, why you got to put that in my head now? Like,
right. Yeah.
That's what my mom told me. She was like, "Don't do it, because if you can be saved, but at the same time, if you die, all of your organs can be harvested for people who need them." And they're gonna be like, "Just let them die."
I don't know. At that point, I don't give a shit.
Yeah,
Listen, man, if I'm in an accident where like I'm basically just a complete vegetable.
well, that's the thing. If I'm gonna have a shit
whatever,
quality of
man.
life, then
Yeah,
Whatever,
but then,
dude.
but I also get into the conspiracy thing, because if anything this movie does is lift the veil on some bullshit.
Oh, absolutely.
yes, it does, man.
Our trash ass health system.
The testing thing alone about the HMO or whatever it's called, like
Right.
that they can test you for more, like they should test you for more,
Right.
But
Like
because
if you have something, if you're already sick with something, and they test you, and
you need more
testing, they'll say, you know what? Nah.
Yeah, they'll just give, like you said, they'll give you a Band-Aid and give you a boot in the ass. Get out.
Yeah.
It's crazy,
Yes.
man. And
so it's crazy, man. This movie is 18 years old.
it's still very relevant.
We still have these problems now.
And the problems, I think, have gotten worse.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
if the economy's gotten worse and employment's gotten more difficult,
Right.
there are people who are uninsured. And then this movie also highlights that you're working your tail off, you have insurance,
Right.
and the insurance fucking sucks.
Right. And the company that you work for can fuck you over with that without
Yeah.
you even knowing.
Without you even knowing
exactly.
that
The
it
company that
happened.
you're working for can cut costs to save themselves a dime, and then like legitimately just fuck
Right.
you. I think one of the
Right.
yeah.
That's why you have to like. I mean, if anything, you learn like you got to pay attention to all the things that your company's doing
Absolutely.
in terms of like your benefits.
Always listen at those meetings.
because you have no idea. For the most part, I've never paid attention to that type of shit. But like, this is the kind of movie that you watch it and you're like, fuck, like what do I
Right.
have? You know, what am I going to experience if this happens?
It's crazy.
It does freak you out, but that's also the thing about it brings into the concept of preventative medicine and how we don't do that.
Right.
It basically is just like once the emergency or the problem is there, that's when maybe we'll
address
address it.
Because that's also where the money is.
The money is, as opposed to why don't like the kid with the heart. It's like his heart is that engorged, and y'all couldn't have figured that out. That was
exactly. You couldn't just give him like
they're just
you couldn't give him like a tip, like, you know what? Maybe there's some irregularities. Maybe take him to a cardiologist or something.
Right.
No, just like everything's
Correct.
good. Send him out the door. Can't have that.
right. It's just
it's a business.
Yeah, it's a business.
It's a business.
Everything
that's-
is-
In the end, these health insurance companies, I think the nurse guy said it was like they can save more money sending the doctors a fat check around Christmas time than
right.
and then they'll have to spend if they have to treat everyone for actually what's wrong with that.
Yeah.
It's
So fucked up.
And I think
it does a good job. I forgot what the actress's name is, but the blonde woman,
that's
the Ice Queen.
Yeah, the Ice Queen.
What the heck's her name? Is that like Helen Hunt or something like that?
No, it's not Helen Hunt.
I know
It's
why
Anne,
you went with Helen
and
Hunt.
it's Anne Heche or Heche.
Oh, okay.
And
And Heche.
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 Yeah.
That's right.
Well, her.
Yeah.
I think the movie does a really good job of like presenting you with characters that work in the medical profession who are clearly neck down dead, and you're talking to parents about like losing their kid, and they're just so matter of fact about it. It's like, you should probably just, start saying goodbye because you're poor and you're not going to be able to save them. So get on that boat. And she's so emotionally detached from it, as opposed to when they come up with the lie of like, let's just tell him that he's on the list. And then she goes and tells the mom that, and then the reaction, then she's actually sees the relief for the mom. I think she gets emotional about it as well at some point.
I think Robert Duvall struck a nerve with her when he's like, "Oh, that was a great performance." Even the embrace afterwards, I think she actually thought twice about what he was saying. Like, huh, that's kind of a dick.
And by that point, she was just lying. That was just entirely a lie.
And it's crazy.
But so she doesn't really get that emotional. Then the Ice Queen, she gets emotional. It's when John is
on the phone.
Is on the phone and he gets shot. Dude. But he's on the phone and he's talking to his wife. And they're all hearing it and watching it.
And he talked with his son for a moment, and there's all that.
And then she gets emotional. Then she puts the kid's name on the
then she goes
list.
and makes the call.
Yeah.
Well, because I think it highlights a very key point. You've removed the humanity from what you're doing or what you're supposed to be doing.
Yes.
You're treating everyone like a number, like a statistic, like just another one on a list. But when you actually, and maybe there's a line between keeping your sanity and not, because she says it in the movie, I think herself, she's like, if you have a problem with the system, get into contact with your congressperson.
Yeah, that was said
or your
few
senator. It's kind of like, because, and again, I'll get on the devil. I don't like the character. I don't agree with her position, but I'll play the devil's advocate boat again. She has a point there. Because it almost is like, yes, their son is dying. He has this heart condition. He's doing what he can to save his son. But as the movie kind of alludes to at different points in scenes, many people are on that boat. Exactly. Many people are losing loved ones in this unjust system.
Right.
And how do you uproot the system for one person when you can't do it for everyone?
Then you're going to have everyone going into an ER with a gun, taking people out. You can't do that.
Right. Forgive me for saying this, but
it's just not feasible.
That whole setup, though, how they were going to have his wife call him on the phone so they can get the sniper to take a shot out of him. That is a really fucked up thing to do.
Absolutely. And then, but of course, you got to have the scummy cop. It does the scummy thing.
That's Ray Liotta saying, if you know me, like, I'll take the shot, I'll make the call. It's like, all right. Better off Ray Liotta than Duvall, for sure.
Right. I was talking to Gab, and while we were watching it, we were realizing, like, this movie legitimately could have been in our heist episode.
Yeah.
Because it has
all the elements
of a heist movie.
Absolutely.
You have at the end of the movie
the cliches.
The big cop at the end of the movie giving a laugh at the God is going, son of a bitch.
Because at the end when Eddie Griffin is playing Denzel's character in the car, and then Robert Duvall just looks at him like, God, you son of a bitch, you got me.
And then he just walks up into the operating room. No security apparently. Just walk right in.
Yeah.
That heart transplant scene itself was incredibly graphic for, I feel like, a movie at the time.
Yeah. It was very real.
Very real.
Very real. I mean, talk about a character that to me really does a 360, or I guess 180 would be the right number. Is the James Woods doctor. Because in the beginning you're like, God, this motherfucker is such a piece of
when
shit.
He's like talking to like the rich people that just had the heart surgery, and he's like, oh, you're not on the will, like, oh, get him, you can't play tennis, and he's like smooth, like, you're such an asshole. And then as soon as he sees John Q, he just like sourpuss face.
Right. But like by the end, after he goes through all the shit with John and like all the stuff, like he's not.
He's a cool guy. And like I think
He's not that
the-
bad.
his turn.
Same for Ice Queen. Both are not
yes,
that bad.
Correct.
His,
correct.
I actually think I don't know if I can totally agree that guy isn't a piece of shit. I think he might still be when he showed up with the two ladies at the
That was
hearing.
hilarious. Yeah, at the court hearing, he's got two women.
Your morals are a little bit.
I'm gonna give him.
I don't really know.
I'm gonna give him the
who
benefit
you
of the doubt,
are.
and one of them was his daughter. I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt.
I don't
because
know,
one of them
man. They were both.
That-
One of
they
them
both
both had their head on
significantly
their shoulder.
younger.
He brought 2 dates to a court hearing.
They both had their head on his. Let's go.
Yeah.
They both had their head on his shoulder at the court hearing. Very sultry.
Loving. It's a
Why would you
loving
bring
family.
2 women dates to a sentencing?
Yeah.
Like, what the hell is wrong with
I
you?
don't-
No,
everyone else, like everyone was there.
I
It's
pick
not
Ice-
even that-
It's not that bad.
I
It's
pick
not that
Ice
bad.
Queen over that
Even-
clown.
He's like pumped at the end when he successfully does the surgery and like
He does the
it's-
bow
they
thing.
wi-
Like,
Well,
Yeah,
also
yeah.
because he's an egomaniac
Right.
and
Of
he likes
course,
the
of
accolades
course.
of the. Because if it was, I don't know, I don't buy. Yes, thank you for doing the surgery. I don't think it would have happened if you hadn't been held at gunpoint. I don't think he's that great of a guy. The greatest guy in this movie is obviously Denzel.
yeah, incredible.
I'm
acting.
gonna
I
say
think
there is a few heroes in this film, besides Denzel. I wrote them down.
Okay.
Okay.
That male nurse that was actually like up with the son.
Oh,
that
yeah.
guy was up because he's the one who ran the fact
guy-
sheet.
The guy who the stack
Yeah,
dude, the
that
stack
guy.
The
dude.
stack nurse.
Yeah, that guy was. He
agreed.
brought the action
He gave a
figure.
shit.
He
cared.
gave the action figure correct.
He was there. He
Hero.
really- yep.
Yep.
He
And
was
I'm
hero,
gonna go ahead and
for sure.
say the Tuck Landis, the news reporter.
I
Him
agree.
and his whole production staff. The guy who hacked into the feed, putting it on
Yeah,
TV.
yeah.
That's an underrated move because
Here,
No,
here's
but
the thing,
that's
though.
not
I
out of
don't
hero.
know if that's a hero.
He's
That's
a-
not.
he's
That
a
is a
hero because-
byproduct of his selfish.
because if it
bullshit.
wasn't for him, Eddie Griffin wouldn't have been like, "Oh, John Q, you're on TV," and then he looks and sees a sniper and stops. I'm telling you, you guys saved John Q's
But
life.
see, that's not him. That's not him being a hero by choice. It's like, oh, I'm trying to get ahead of my
Listen,
career.
he's gonna win a Pulitzer for that.
Just so
he better have
happens-
won a Pulitzer for that.
True.
Great guy, great
But
hair.
but I did like. I also thought that it was the same actor as the big nurse, the stack nurse.
They looked very
Because
very
they looked
similar.
incredibly
They looked
similar.
very similar. You could tell the nurse though was clearly an Italian. You know, good man,
Oh, yeah.
good heart on his shoulder.
Yeah, 100%. Eddie Griffin is absolutely a hero in the movie. Yeah. The security guard, the big dude that's in a bunch of stuff as a random side character, Boy Meets World. Yes, he's a hero because he helps sign the will. He signs the will when he's agreeing that he's gotta kill himself. The girl that got beat by the boyfriend, that piece of shit,
Yeah, that guy deserved to die.
Mm-hmm.
To be honest with you,
he's a
Yeah.
scumbag.
He's scum. True.
I love how they figured it out within like the first 20 minutes of them being in the ER that he was the cause of like her injuries, not like the bogus car accident.
yeah.
Like
He's
it was just
"What
so
the
prominent
fuck?"
that he was a
It was
piece
so
of shit.
He's so obvious as a piece of garbage. Yeah, man, great
But yeah,
fucking
man,
movie.
awesome movie.
Incredible movie.
Great piece of advice, and just last note on the dad note. Great piece of advice from Denzel to his son. That last what was going to be his last conversation with him, of what advice he's giving him for like life.
Yeah.
Great advice.
All of the advice that he
all
gives
of
him
it
is
is so
very good advice.
Very true. Something I said when he was like, "Don't be stupid like me. Like if you have to sell out every once in a while
Yeah,
for
take the money.
you
Just
take
make as
the
much
money,
money
sell
as you
out."
can.
Correct.
It's true. Life is fucking
Yep.
difficult.
Yep.
Like you cannot be holding on to your pride and your crap.
Yep. Put your pride aside for a sec. You need to survive. It's about fucking survival.
Survive.
And if you need to do that to sell out, to make some cash, to survive, do it.
Because shit happens in life, obviously, as this movie depicts.
Yeah.
You need to be prepared, and you have to have a foundation to do it. If you're holding on to your ego and your pride and your bullshit all the time, then that's
Right.
it's probably not gonna work
That
out.
pride isn't going to help you when you're
No.
on your deathbed in a hospital.
Recognize when you need to friggin' sell out a little bit.
Yeah. Incredible
That's the truth.
performance by
Denzel.
all the
Denzel. The thing about him is like any performance he gives, there's so many nuances in what he does
Yeah.
It's the level of what's his face from Dog Day Afternoon.
Oh, Pacino.
Al Pacino.
Yeah.
He has those. He has those
it's
nuances to his
incredible.
performances. Those like little touches, like just when he's talking to his son, and like the note to turn away because you don't want your kid to see you upset or crying about the
Right.
situation.
Even when he walks in and takes off his
The
sling from getting shot because he doesn't want the kid to see that he's hurt.
Sees her. Yeah.
To
He
me,
got shot and stabbed in the same
yeah.
arm.
To me,
Like a 5-hour period.
really great actor.
The scene where he's he puts himself in the hospital bed to kill himself, and he clicks and it's the safety's on.
Yeah.
And he does that like shivering like nerve thing.
Yeah.
Like it's just not everybody just can have that.
Can't do that.
Has that effect.
He has that smile,
Yeah.
that like big grin, and he's used it in a few movies. And in each movie, has a different like. It sends like a different message. Like in this one, he's generally happy. In Training Day, it's kind of like a sly, like evil type thing. Like he has such range and it's just the little things that he
100%.
does. Yeah, that's what makes a great actor.
Great fucking movie. What are your scores?
I'm gonna give it an 8.
Okay,
Right off the cuff.
I'm going 9 out of 10.
I'll give it an 8.
Okay,
All right.
8.
I was hoping that Gab was going back-to-back 6s. I was really.
He's gonna be that. He's gonna be that scumbag Simon Cowell type.
Okay, fine, you guys. If you're gonna put that on me, I give it a 6.
Go ahead. You're next, Gab.
I'm next. All right. So our third movie to wrap this up on the daddy issue, or daddy, not issue daddy, but daddy.
I love how we're still going with daddy issues.
Sorry, you think dad is automatically assume daddy issues?
An issue.
Yeah.
We're talking To Kill a Mockingbird, the 1962.
This is more rad dads.
Rad
dad. I like that.
Rad dads.
That just already feels like a dad joke in itself.
Exactly.
To Kill a Mockingbird, the 1962
To Kill a Mockingbird
film. You've all read that book in high school, except me for some reason.
I don't know how you didn't.
This brought me back to reading that book, aka looking at Spark Notes days before the test.
Oh, 100%.
Never.
Yeah.
I don't know
Spark
why
Notes, baby.
I didn't get to read it in high school, but I should probably still read it. But
I remember I bombed the initial test in high school. Like they give you like just to make sure you read the first couple chapters. I said Scout was a dog, Atticus was the son. Like just stupid shit. It couldn't have been
Scout
more.
was a dog. I mean, that's a very dog name.
Yeah, it couldn't have been more obvious. I didn't read the first like 4 chapters.
Jesus.
So it follows
Sorry,
this
Miss Corn.
family, the Finch family.
Yes,
right.
correct.
In Mississippi, I think is where they're living. As they live in this small town, Atticus Finch is a lawyer, and I believe this is taking place during the Great Depression era, like the 30s.
Like 1930s era,
Yep.
I think.
So people are poor. He is a lawyer, and he is raising his
right after the crash.
Right after the crash. So this
Yeah.
is the 30s. And he is raising his 2 kids alone. Their mothers obviously passed away and not around. His son, Jem, and daughter, Scout. And he's, oh, God, I forgot the character's name.
Who?
The one who helps him, that lives with him, who helps him raise the kids.
It's like wait, no, the black girl?
Yeah.
I don't know her name. I
forgot her name. I'm sorry. Anyway, so it's about this story about this family. Their father is a lawyer and takes on a case to defend a man named Tom who has been accused of sexually assaulting a white woman. Rape. I was gonna try to like lower it, but okay.
You want to sugarcoat
We'll
it a
use the
little
word.
We gotta go full. We gotta go full.
Gotta go full. Accused of raping a white woman in the town. So he's assigned to defend her while the kids kind of work experiences within the peripheral of that story, and obviously their children trying to take it in, understand what's going on. And it's also like sewn in with components of this mystery figure that's their neighbor named Boo Radley, who contains those mythical, urban legendy kind of elements that kids come up with that we've seen in other movies, kid-centered films.
Mm-hmm.
And it follows these kids throughout this summer of where their dad is representing this case to its end, which ultimately concludes that through the story, this man obviously did not commit the crime he is accused of.
Right.
despite that, he is wrongfully found guilty of the crime and ultimately loses his life when trying to escape from the people who imprisoned him. And these two children witness the case because they sneak into the courthouse.
Which is a recurring theme for them throughout the whole movie. They're
They like to
sneaking
sneak
in
around
everywhere.
these pesky
Very Ron, Harry, and Hermione kind of situation.
Very just...
Always getting into things and going
Yeah.
and doing stuff they're not really supposed to be doing. Until it gets to the end of the film where they are saved by that mysterious figure, neighbor named Boo Radley, from someone who's actually trying to kill the kids. And the man who's trying to kill them was the father, the drunk ass father of the woman who
accused the black man of rape.
Tom of rape. Boo Radley ultimately kills that sumbitch. And the detective or something like that, once he gets there to the house, is like, you know what? As far as I'm concerned, an innocent man lost his life because of this bullshit. So that son of a bitch, he fell on his knife, and we're going to bed.
That's right, yeah.
He deserved to die. Because ultimately, the real point of what had actually happened was that the woman who accused him of the rape was thirsty as shit.
Yes.
And was trying to get with Tom. But when she was spotted by her drunk father, who was a super mega racist.
Super racist.
Beat the shit out of her for it. And because there's this whole court fiasco.
Right. And at this point in the world, in society, is like, you can't do this type of shit. You can't kiss a black dude. So it's not only her father, but it's also like what society would think.
Society's going to say about it. Right.
So she tries to wash it away, and how she washes it away is by accusing him and trying to get him killed or put away.
And she could not have been less convincing on the stand.
Less convincing, yeah.
I mean, the moment she went to the hysteria at the end of the thing, I'm like, you want to know who goes into hysteria to prove their point? People who are lying.
No.
She even says he's like. So you witnessed him so you can say that he beat you.
Yeah.
No, I can't recall that.
Yeah.
And then 5-second pause. Oh, no, wait, yeah, he did hit me. Like, you son of a
fucking idiot, dude.
And
Jury,
then Atticus also is a ninja lawyer.
Oh my
Atticus
God, so good.
is our father figure in this. Even though, you know what, I would have to give kind of in a weird way Boo Radley a little bit of that fatherish role as more of in the shadows. The toys that he makes for the kids and he leaves for them.
It seems like he's the one that's kind of been protecting them the whole time.
Watching over them.
Watching over them, yeah.
Without being at front and center.
Right,
But he's been watching over the kids.
Yes, correct.
And even when it comes to their lives are threatened, he jumps in to save both of their lives.
Right.
So I think that's I think you would want to give him kind of that role as well. But Atticus, being our father figure of the movie, is also extremely Dumbledore.
Yeah.
I almost wonder, J.K. Rowling, did you read To Kill a Mockingbird? And did this inspire a little bit of Harry, Ron, and Hermione?
Could have been inspired.
Super passive, but you can just feel this calm wisdom and comforting
sense to him. And you, as an attorney or someone who's about finding facts and the truth,
right?
I can understand how committed he is to that and saying I'm not going to participate in this bullshit of that everyone participates in. There's something about his serenity to me that it's yes, I think it comes from wisdom, but there's also something about it that seemed so exhausted.
Right.
It's so much crap, and he is but one man living in this racist ass place. Even if I'm defending this man in court, and I'm just ninjaing the shit. Yeah. I asked this fucking racist redneck to spell his name,
right?
And then all I did was to highlight to the court the man is left-handed.
Yes.
And even the judge picked up on it.
Yeah, everyone picks up on it. He doesn't even have to say a word.
He doesn't say a word. He's write your name on a piece of paper.
Yeah.
And he's very well dressed, too.
Oh, yeah.
Compared to that other attorney who just looked like a goddamn slob.
With his tie,
with the tie,
sideways,
oh my God, it's like a napkin tie. Who the hell?
Atticus is the full package in this film.
Yeah.
Great father, great attorney.
The jury's all white, so we're already on a sinking boat.
He was doomed from the beginning.
Yeah. As we're going through, because you don't really look at the jury until like towards the end of the I guess trial. But at the second that you see them, you're like, okay, never mind. None of this is going to matter.
Right.
Exactly.
Which is unfortunate, but
the movie does a great job of also highlighting by using the children that racism is not it's not innate, it's not born.
Right.
These kids don't hold any of those prejudices. You see it in I think one of the biggest things that stood out to me was during the court case, Dill, their neighbor friend, he falls asleep on the Reverend.
Yep.
And the Reverend's holding Dill while he lays his head on him while he's sleeping.
Yep.
There's no ill or there's no subconscious-y shit to these kids. And even the words that they use when she's crying, when there's one scene when Atticus gets home and he says, like, are you really defending N-words?
Yeah.
And he's like,
yeah.
Why are you saying that word? It's like, that's because that's what a boy at school said you were doing. So she's not familiar with this concept.
Right.
The boy has already been infected with the
disease
of racism.
Right.
And now she's starting to become acquainted with it.
Right.
But fortunately for her, she has a father, an Atticus,
right.
who tries his hardest to see people as people for who they are, but also understands that there is this unjust system. And I appreciate his serenity in trying to teach his kids through wisdom and understanding and patience. But when that drunk son of a bitch spat in his face, I was like, you get that car and you run him over. I wanted him to break, but then Ramel, you made that point during that scene as I was yelling at the TV for him to do it.
Right.
You were like, he already told Jem.
No, he told
Scout, don't stop fighting. And so, you can tell that this is a man who lives by
his word and by
his actions.
His actions, yep.
His actions back his words. So he's not, and with Jem in the car,
right.
He's like, I'm not,
my kid's in the car. I mean, I'm sure maybe if his kid wasn't in the car at that point, he might have been different. You would assume like I'd probably sock the shit out of him.
Yeah.
But with Jem in the car, he's realizing like I teach these kids to not fight, so I'm not going to sit here and fight too.
So I'm not right. And it's a tough, man. It's one case of many. I think this inspires. It's a fictional story, obviously, but it recalls memories of things like Emmett Till.
Yep. Emmett Till is
the very real story of Emmett Till.
Right.
I actually think it even can draw upon the notes from the Tulsa massacres from the 1920s, because that all started because a woman yelled out of a hotel elevator or something that a black man had tried to sexually harass her.
Right.
And then it turned into what ultimately erupted.
Yeah.
So I think, when I say ultimately erupted, was a bunch of white people destroying perfectly innocent neighborhoods.
And even still, even still now, you've got a similar real scenario, like the gentleman in the woman in the Central Park.
Yes.
And the woman just cries,
harassment. Yeah.
This black guy is trying to harass me, and she uses calling the cops as a threat. These are reoccurring things that like this movie is from fucking 1962,
60 years ago,
and it's still now happening, and it's
kind of weird, man.
I think the biggest point is, and because I think we said watching it, I'm like, wait, holy shit, this movie is ultimately about a fucking Karen.
Yeah.
To Kill a Mockingbird. What's the synopsis? A Karen at work.
It's a Karen movie.
It's a Karen at work, and what I think the biggest thing it triggered for me was, and this is something that people probably don't notice, for white people and people and perhaps a lot of white women, let's put them on the hot seat for a second.
Right.
Their instinct is, I can utilize the police as this thing to enforce my will because I know I have access to that resource in that capacity.
Right.
I know that if I call the police on a black man or a man of color, I can say whatever the hell I want.
Right.
And they're going to go down for what I say.
Correct.
That was the impulse of the woman in the park.
Mm-hmm.
That's even though I don't think it was police that got involved in the case of Emmett Till, like that's The woman knew what she was doing.
of course.
And then To Kill a Mockingbird, I think she also knew
Who, by the way, the Emmett Till lady admitted that she was lying on her deathbed.
Did you?
I'm not even
There we
gonna.
go.
Okay. Yes. So admitted to lying, killing an innocent boy, and then you have this asshole in the court who is clearly lying, but what she can't admit to is unearthing her own beef and baggage with her abusive father,
Right.
and that she can own her thirstiness because it's too humiliating in front of this whole court of men and women. And instead, let me just destroy the life of an innocent man because I don't want to take accountability for my bullshit and what I am doing. So I'm since you mentioned the dumbass lady in the park, I'm like, the correlation is so profound. And you see the Karens on social media as well. They do that, right? They know that they can just, I'm going to call the police. Because you think that the police, your instinct, your subconscious is telling you, I can utilize them to anything to my advantage, knowing that that person of color or black person can't do the same thing.
It's a lot of power that.
And Atticus knows that, and Atticus is really trying to put people on the spot in this case, and I don't know if he's necessary. The thing is, the way this actor played him throughout the whole thing, he's trying to do his best, absolutely.
Yeah.
But you see, I don't know why, there was like almost an air of defeatedness to him. Like there's a component to him where he radiates this energy of like, this is likely all in vain because these people have already decided before we even walked into this court who's going to go down for this. And he's trying to keep Tom's hopes up when he goes after him in the door. But even Tom doesn't buy it, which is why, and you said it when we were watching, who knows if this is really the true story or not about him running away.
Correct. Because I mean, you already know from an earlier scene before the trial where they're holding Tom in a jail that Atticus has to literally go and sit outside the jail in front of the door to protect these guys from coming into the jail just to kill him.
And no one told him that that's exactly what's going to happen. It's just not his first time at the rodeo.
Correct.
And he knows that that's what they're going to do.
Right. I mean, you've got one black dude in a jail and 4 cars show up with like 12 guys.
Why 12 guys for one dude?
All of them having guns.
It's a legit
and
mob.
pitchfork. Yes.
It's just ridiculous.
It's a lynch mob. It's exactly what it was.
It was a lynch mob, yeah.
And I will say one last point to the point of Scout, who's, I think that was her big, for me, was her big hero moment in the movie, is that by talking to that man and saying like, I go to school with your son, can you tell him I say hey?
Correct.
What she basically did was the best polite slap with the back of her hand.
Yeah. Like what the fuck are you doing here?
To what are you doing here?
Yeah.
We're all people.
Right.
You're letting your bigotry and racism and bullshit get the better
father.
of you. You're a father. Yes.
You're a father. You're a father of a kid that I go to school with. What are you doing here? Trying to kill this guy
who is going through the legal process that is already rigged in your favor.
Correct.
So it's and you could tell that these men to a degree were ashamed, not because they were racist, just let's not do this in front of the kids.
Yes. Correct.
So I would like to read the book. I wonder what was left out of the book for the movie.
I mean, I think there's a bunch of stuff. I think the thing with Boo Radley is deeper.
I think he has more. He's got a bigger character in the book.
but obviously the movie they really highlight more is the case.
The case,
because that's the
But so I'll read it. I want to see, but I think it's a fantastic. They've never remade it since the 60s, have they?
Not like a new version of it. No, I mean I'm sure there's like movies that base it off of that. They're like somebody gets sexually abused or isn't really accused.
I mean, when they see us,
but that's an actual thing.
But I'm saying it's an actual truth. But the correlation again, this
These are things that happen.
This repetitive
time,
crap.
So they haven't really had to remake it because it keeps being remade in real life.
And time. Yeah. So, but powerful story that it still holds true all the time, and why people are fucking sick of this shit.
Right. It is on Amazon. If you have not seen it,
Amazon Prime, right?
Amazon Prime, yes.
Free of charge too. Free of charge.
Correct.
There you go. Amazon Prime, give us money. Yeah. So ratings.
I'm gonna go go 7.
Pico.
7. V?
I'm going to agree with you on 7. That's where I put it.
Let's make it a clean 7 as well.
7.
Seven,
Jackpot,
sevens.
baby.
Straight 7s.
Love it.
Beautiful, boys.
Makes
Okay, so we're going to end with a little something fresh. Okay.
Speaking of dads.
Speaking of dads, and speaking of heroes,
Good segue. Good. Okay, I saw
let's see if we can pull it all
Netflix
together.
just dropped something we've been waiting for a while, and that's season 2 of The Umbrella Academy. Gab, take it away because I don't know anyone else.
Thanks, bitch. All right. So, The Umbrella Academy Season 2, this one focuses very heavy on the second graphic novel that focuses around Dallas. It's the JFK assassination. When we left,
Which I loved.
I loved very much. When we left our heroes in season 1, Vanya had triggered the apocalypse, and they were
Correct.
like, well, this Earth is blowing the fuck up. We got to get out of here.
Correct.
So 5 opens a portal back in time, but what happens is all of them get sent back to Dallas in the 1960s, but they
60s.
all land in a different year.
Yeah.
So from
That was so brilliant.
1960
It's so
to 1963, they're all landing at different times, and thus begins their journey to find each other again and to find a means to get back home while living the context of what's happening in the 1960s. What's funny, and it all revolves around the JFK assassination. What makes it so seamless of a season is that all of them have just about all of them have a strong tie already to this time period from season 1. For example, we know that 5 decided to return to the present during the JFK assassination. This is
Correct.
when he opens the portal to return to his family in 2019.
Right.
So there's a way to incorporate that element. You have, what's his face? Klaus, who he has stolen a briefcase and found his way into the Vietnam War in the
Right.
1960s, where he met Dave. So
Yep.
he has this whole plot of trying to find Dave in Dallas.
Before he enlists, to try to prevent him to enlist.
For Allison, they take this, which I told Ramel is such an interesting use of the time period, especially how it correlates to her powers. To be in racist and segregated Dallas,
Right,
Texas,
like civil rights and all.
and the civil rights movement, the frustration of what's happening and the injustice that white people were doing to black people at the time.
Right.
Yet she has literally the power to make anyone do
What she wants. Yeah.
Right.
Which is it's very cool.
which is a very cool backdrop to utilize her plot and to develop her character. We have Luther has been reduced to nothing more than an oaf.
Nothing more than just
Poor Luther, man.
comedic oaf.
Comedic fucking oaf. He's just comedy.
All he does every episode is just eat and then have pouty scenes.
Exactly. He just sulks and eats. That's it.
Sulks and eats. We have Diego, who, this is what frustrates me. He's our Latino character in the
Yup.
show. I love him to death for this, but he was so frustrating because he gets this giant thing in his head to stop the JFK assassination and to be the hero that saves him.
Right.
And he also falls in love with a character that I'm extremely frustrated with as well. What's her face? I forgot her name.
It doesn't matter. She's trash.
And
Oh man.
Jesus Christ. And then we have Vanya, who also I think was, for me personally, was a little bit of a weak link in the season as well. With her plot, I think it was stronger season 1 when it was the Dark Phoenix Saga ripoff. But in this one, she is finding someone who genuinely cares about her, which is great.
Right. Love, fine, whatever. It is what it is.
And she has a better control of her powers, and she has overcome her trauma in a week, and that's great. It does this.
Trauma.
The season does revolve around stopping the apocalypse again, which I feel is a little redundant. I did feel it was a little been there, done that.
Yep.
With season 1, I'll forgive it because ultimately I think this season served to do great character development for the characters. I thought it was time to graduate Ben out of Ghost Buddy because there's only so much you can do with that.
Yes.
And I think it was great that Ben ultimately is the one who stopped the apocalypse.
Right. Spoiler alert,
overall. Because the 2019 apocalypse doesn't happen, nor does it happen in 1963.
Correct.
Because he reaches Vanya and gives her the one thing that she always needed, which was love.
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 Laugh.
And then the season ends. We're spoilers. I don't care.
Yeah.
And then the season ends ultimately with them returning to the present, only to find that they changed too much shit.
Wait, whoa. I'm only on episode 7, guy. What are you doing?
Jesus.
You said we were only going like episode 2. We said we're only reviewing episode 2. Why are you jumping ahead?
Jesus Christ. We just spoiled it for one of our own.
Yo.
Come on, man. Why we didn't say we finished it.
Oh, we finished
We never
it.
said that.
Yo,
Yeah.
You know what? He stopped me right in time when I said.
Yeah.
I was
Actually, good job. That's a good stop. Because he didn't really reveal that much.
I didn't reveal
Well,
what
I figured
happens at
that
the
I figured
end.
they were gonna change too much
Right.
because that's just smart. And then they
obviously,
get back, it's like, fuck.
yeah, and obviously the show has to. They're not going to stay in 1960 fucking whatever.
They're gonna go home
for the whole show.
Right.
So
but you've seen
won't-
it, you've seen enough just to know Klaus started a cult in the 1960s.
Which I
That's
love.
enough that it has to have dramatically changed
Correct.
the timeline.
Yes, I mean because even if the JFK assassination still happens, they themselves have done other things, and especially in the life of other characters that they're close with,
Yep, that they met.
that they have met in these episodes, that like it changes things. For
It
them.
changes stuff. So they've definitely done they've done. I don't know if we'll find out in season 3 if it's damage.
Right.
But they have changed things significantly. And Fico, pick up the pace.
I thought I was doing good. I was
No,
2 days,
You're
7,
good,
8
you're good,
episodes
you're
in.
good,
You're doing
you're
good.
good.
How many episodes are there? 10?
10. You're only
Oh,
3
okay,
episodes
I'm
away.
right there.
What's happening in the episode that you're watching right now? Because I want to see if I can comment on the dad element.
They just how they were all supposed to get to that back alley in like 40 minutes, and obviously
yes,
it just
okay,
wasn't going to
okay.
happen.
Oh, so they
like,
haven't.
yeah.
So it's the episode where 5 is like, fuck, we need 90 minutes to get here, and none of you motherfuckers can actually get here on time.
Exactly.
So
it's
they haven't had dinner yet.
Klaus made it, but no one else did. Like, what the
yeah.
Oh no, they did have dinner with Reginald Hargreaves.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, 'cause
That
happened
was actually
before.
great.
So that alone, it's not spoilery, but you can assume to go back into the 60s and all you dysfunctional ass kids
Yeah.
sit down with your piece of shit adoptive father and be like, "Hey, you fucked us up. These are the powers that
Right.
we have."
And this is not like this is something that happened, and then like you know how in like sometimes in these fucking movies with these
They erase
timelines,
memories.
No, they something happens like it where you went back in time to cause it, but that's how it was supposed to be.
Yeah.
This
Right.
isn't one of those
No,
scenarios.
Not one of those scenarios. You do something, it changes history.
Yes.
And
Good.
they change their history dramatically.
Right.
And it's like, in what way? Pico's going to have
Nice.
to
I'm
find
excited.
out.
It's
very excited.
it's a
about
really
this.
really fun season. The first 3 or 4 episodes, Gap thought were kind of slow, but I didn't think they were that slow. I thought the first few episodes in season 1 were slower. I thought this season was more.
I think this was more to the point.
Yeah. I mean, I think the element of the JFK assassination and them trying to stop that or prevent that, but then also the apocalypse, but then also going against the fucking Swedes.
The Swedes are great.
Swedes, but
Oh, they're
then
great.
also dealing with the fucking lady who's
The handler.
the handler lady.
yeah.
All of that together, it really to me, I was entertained throughout the whole
Yeah.
way.
I'm loving it. Like I enjoy
It's great.
just
It's great.
throwing it on. I get like
I hate
3,
it
4
that
episodes in a
it
day.
took a year and a half to get season 2. And now with COVID, how long is it going to take for us to get season 3?
Yeah.
That's frustrating. But yeah, I think Umbrella Academy is probably one of my favorite comic book adaptations ever.
It's really
Yeah.
it's really entertaining.
great.
I'm even for me, like I hate all these corny CW type superhero shows, like other than maybe Doom Patrol, but just
Umbrella
these,
Academy feels Doom
it's
Patrol-ish.
very Doom Patrol-y,
Yeah.
but it's done in much better quality.
Yes, I would
Yeah.
say the budget clearly looks
The
bigger.
budget is better.
Yeah.
The just the story, the way they do it is better. The way they tell the story, it's just so much more fun to watch.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really good. I'd recommend that for anybody watching it who even likes anything that's superhero related or not. Maybe not even that,
and
but
they're very easy watches too. Like I found,
Yeah.
like even the first season, like you could say the first couple episodes were a little slow, just like kind of like
it's
bringing everything
building
together.
up. Yeah,
Still easy to watch,
Right.
though. Like they do segue into each other very nicely.
right. And all the characters have all the characters have their great moments, their whatever moments. But like, I mean, 5 is hilarious as a little kid that acts like he's old.
Yeah, 5 and Klaus really
Klaus
steal the show, in my
is
opinion.
so fucked up, but it's hysterical.
Klaus was the MVP of the show.
Yeah.
Luther, I didn't like in season 1 at all, and this season because they pivoted his fucking character.
Yeah,
to
he's
be
like
more
kind of like
funny.
goofy.
Now I'm like, all right,
Yeah.
I'm in on corny Luther.
Same.
Definitely.
Just the only characters that are really, I'm just like, I don't know. Vanya still, I'm still on Vanya. She's got the
I agree.
strongest power, but she's still, from me, just, I don't know. There's
Bland.
something about her character that I'm just like, I don't really care enough.
I will appreciate that this season. God damn, if we go get further, but no, you're far enough to recognize that Vanya is more brought into the fold.
Right.
In season 1, they treat her like absolute shit.
Yes.
And in this season, rather than elongate that hassle and like draw out the reconciliation,
Right.
you have the 5 siblings going, we treated her like shit.
Yes.
We have to choose to do better. And I think that's for
Right.
Luther for me, because when he goes to the barn to see her, that was a scene where I'm like, I'm about to really fucking hate this character.
Oh,
Forever,
right.
or
Right.
he's gonna win me over,
Right.
and he
That's
just
what he did.
he takes accountability for how he
Right.
participated.
He's like, yeah, it was my fault, especially when in season 1 when he locks her into that fucking
the
into the soundproof room.
Yeah.
And he's the reason why she fucking blows up.
Yeah, it is his fault.
Right.
It's
So-
and he's leader, so that's
Yeah.
yeah.
Really good show, man. I can't say any more. I don't want to don't want to spoil it, but also we don't really have to. Right now it's a really good show. Watch it, catch up.
Netflix.
Netflix, baby.
The episodes are only like 47 to 50 minutes long.
Yeah,
so
they're really
you can
easy to
really
get through.
bang
They're
through
entertaining.
like
On a
6
weekend.
episodes
yeah,
in
you
like
can get it done on a weekend. I finished the whole season in a day. I'm sorry.
yeah. Well,
I could have done it.
Yeah.
I feel bad that I didn't.
No. I finished it. I watched the first 6 episodes the first day when we were talking about it, Fee, and then the next day I was like, you know what? Let me just fucking finish it.
Just go through it.
So, yeah, man. If you guys have anything else to say, I mean, we won't give our scores for it until we'll wait till next week. Fico will finish it, and then we'll
we'll do a little blip next
Yeah,
week.
we'll just do a little quick
All right.
score update.
Cool.
All right, boys.
Until next week.
All right, guys.
Until
Great
next
episode,
week,
then.
we won't even give you what the hell we're gonna do.
Yeah, let's not.
We'll see.
Let's keep
We'll
it in the
figure it out.
dark this year.
All right, boys.
It's always up to change.
Yep. Check you later.
Later.